Additionally, men are built to appreciate what they've had to work hard for. They value a conquest. So put yourself high on that pedestal where you belong. Your femininity is a powerful asset. Make sure you invest this great resource in the proper place for the highest ROI. This week, Bloomberg reported that dating is taking a big hit due to inflation, and the cost of a typical date doubling since last year. Singles are scaling back and becoming more selective. They noted that financially secure dates have become more attractive and that singles were more likely to get important life issues onto the table as early as the first date, a trend known as hardballing. Good on them for getting to the heart of the matter sooner rather than later and not expending their precious resources where there exists little chance of having found the love of your life. Today, I'm going to give you 5 rules to employ when you are making the love investment decision. Welcome to Morning Tea. I'm Joanne Jolee, and I'm so glad you're here. If you're new, take a second and subscribe to this channel, and let's jump right in. When my husband 20 years ago told one of his close friends, another CPA, that he was going to propose to me, he tried to set him straight, as any good friend would.
I'm getting married.
I can't hear him. Can you stop hitting him? I think he said something crazy.
Getting married.
And then he laid out his options in terms that Bill could understand, with a diagram presented on litigation-ruled legal notepaper. There was the operating lease option, which would come with a fixed term, no ownership transfer, cancelable with penalties, very similar to a hookup or a boyfriend-girlfriend situation. This option had the least risk and costs associated with it. Next, there was the capital lease, akin to a live-in situation, which could at some point come with some ownership conversion rights, but where a change in structure may not always work out. And then there was the most expensive option, full ownership, a spouse, the works, holy matrimony, coming with high risk and a net liability. He also recommended a prenuptial agreement with that option. And yes, holy matrimony is a high-risk investment, with the latest stats still showing a high percentage of marriages ending in divorce. And yes, too many of our young people today have lived through the horrible divorces of their parents, and they are understandably nervous about the possibility of their beautiful romance degenerating into misery. But favor is still on the side of marriage. Most marriages survive. The stats are crystal clear. The best and safest place for women and children is in a marriage with the biological mother and biological father. Men are also happier, they live longer, and they get more sex. All other living arrangements are a significant step down, economically, emotionally, physically, with abuse on women and children increasing the further they get from this optimal situation. So here are the 5 rules. Rule number 1, as in the Bloomberg article, all hard-hitting topics on the table by the first or second date. Get right to the core of things like religion, politics, how many children do you want to have? It's got to be all laid out. Now, this may be uncomfortable, but if you're older, you don't have any time to waste. If you're younger, you most certainly don't want to spend valuable youth on a big mistake that leaves you with a load to bear for the rest of your life. And what are the big ticket items that cause divorce? Well, the top 3 are ineffective communication, financial problems, and infidelity. So the communication begins with the ability to be honest with yourself, telling the truth about what you like and what you don't like, not being deceitful in order to make yourself be more likable to the other person. That is false. You're being faithless to yourself, and the other person is not getting the information they need to get to know who you are. When both parties can truthfully express themselves, then you have a solid platform to move forward in healthy debate, in an understanding way, and for growth. Next, you'll have to know how the potential mate manages their money. Do they pay their bills on time? Are they honorable with their financial obligations? This is a big test of character. And if you are one who is responsible with your money and marry someone who is irresponsible, you are going to be in trouble. I've heard some say that this is the number 1 reason for divorce over infidelity, which leads to the next rule, absolutely no sex. Now, don't click away. Listen. One reason why this is so impactful psychologically is that by abstaining, you can prove to each other that you can manage powerful temptation, and you'll build some confidence and some trust. Trust, that's a huge word, a foundational word for long-term relationships. Respecting and honoring each other in this way will come in handy when the marriage is challenged in the future. Perhaps when you're dealing with illness, or there's a seduction from a co-worker. But having spent dating time focused on the more critical items necessary for long-term marriage, you're going to have a deep confidence that your spouse can manage themselves in high-tension situations. You've seen it. You know how they behaved when they were with you. Sex is a mechanism that works like monster glue, holding two pieces together. And it comes apart tearing with difficulty. It causes damage to your heart and your spirit and to your body. God designed and reserved sex for marriage to create that kind of cementing strength in the union. If you have sex outside the commitment of holy matrimony, women in particular lose their objectivity to make proper judgments about the man, and they're more prone to justify, to excuse, to ignore red flags. And then after everything is all said and done and over, they recognize and often say that they were being willfully stupid. Additionally, men are built to appreciate what they've had to work hard for. They value a conquest. So put yourself high on that pedestal where you belong. Your femininity is a powerful asset. Make sure you invest this great resource in the proper place for the highest ROI. Next, no formal engagement or promise to marry until you've hit your first major conflict. This takes time and interaction. If you are both healthy, independent thinkers, then disagreement is inevitable, and you're going to observe how you were able to resolve the problem. If one bullied to get their way or behaved viciously, it's a no-go. But if you're able to work it through and come to terms with care for the position and the feelings of each other, then this is a relationship that's looking like it has potential, which leads to number 4, bring in the family troops. Ask your parents and your family and your friends, what do they think? And listen to them. Parents mostly have great insight. They know you. They have lived longer, they have experienced more, and they can point out things that you may not be aware of. Marriages did work better when mature adults were involved in the matchmaking. If you have 2 or 3 people pointing out the same concern, then take it as a strong signal that there may be a problem. And number 5, no prenuptial agreements, which take the beautiful, tender young love and crush it with the terms of its death, flying right in the face of the divine spirit of the unity and oneness of marriage. I won't go into detail here, but if you're interested in knowing more about this topic, then let me know in the comment section below. Thanks to the 60s free love movement launching the breakdown of the institution of marriage, men quickly realized they could get a woman to cohabit, and he would have his needs for companionship and sex met at low financial risk. Sounded like a pretty good deal. All the while, the woman in exchange is giving her youth and her fertility, usually in the secret or even the open hope of a marriage proposal that doesn't come. And today this has reached disaster levels, with confused young women submitting to hookups and paying a terrible price, including the unwanted pregnancies and the taking of innocent human life by abortion. Likewise, women at that time brought into an impossible lie. We can be free of our dependence on men and be equal. So women in droves left the power positions of their homes to start duking it out in a man's world. How has that worked out? Well, it's been a losing battle, and for many reasons that experts are trying to sort out currently. But there is one clear issue: the fertility window that men don't have. Women must decide, are they going to put off childbearing and reducing their chances of a successful pregnancy, or are they going to farm out the raising of their children to strangers? Now, they may be very nice strangers, but as I said in my book, they won't come close to the love and protection of a mother who will throw herself in front of a train to protect her child. Nope, women, decades later, still do not have equality in the workplace, and at this point, many have had enough, and they're going home in droves to start their own enterprises, to have control over their lives and the precious time with their family, and to put their assets where it's going to give them the highest return. So dating should be seen in the same way my first-time homebuyers do. During that exciting and often overwhelming process, there's so many things to consider. You've got to find the perfect space and just the right area with all the special features you dream of enjoying. When we find a home that looks like it checks all the boxes, we have an inspection period, and you explore all the critical systems in the home to make sure that they are in the good order that the buyer claims they are. A mistake could wind up being costly and even devastating. This is the level of care in business that needs to be applied to the much more impactful decision of finding a life-love partner. Are you alone right now and you're feeling the sting of loneliness? We're not designed to experience the fullness of life on our own. But these times do come. You move to a new place, you get a divorce, your partner passes away, and you go through a breakup. But these times are only temporary. So watch this here and learn ways to maximize this period in your life and to even be happy. Thank you so much for being here today. Don't go without subscribing, and remember to look for the blessings. They're all around you. Bye-bye.
Where would be the trial?